Welcome into another episode of IMHO. I'm Kelcey Wright Johnson. That's John Roser. The NBA is over. The Lakers are the champs. Roser, you know what we got to do. Let's talk about the biggest storylines, or your favorite storylines from the NBA, but let's do it post-March. March 11th, the league was on a hiatus. It's kind of two separate seasons. So the second season, when we're back in the bubble, what do you got for me?
Well, personally, the biggest story to me was The Last Dance getting moved up and we getting to see Michael Jordan's greatness all summer before the season resumed on ESPN. I will say, though, the biggest story was the league suspending the season. Like, this has never happened before. So I think without a doubt, that was the biggest story of the NBA season post-March.
I don't know why I didn't write that down. Like, that's the storyline. There you have it. Okay, I actually went with something. I think I took this a little too detailed, but I went with Game 5. And I know it is very recent, but Game 5 was one of the best playoff games I've ever watched ever.
No, Game 5 of that finals, that was an absolute all-timer. I'll never forget that game. And it really was the only good game we got in the NBA Finals. Like, a really good game that we got where it was where it's coming down the final minute, you don't know who's going to win the game. Every other game, you knew in the final, the game was basically done in the final minute. Another one that I will go with, I will say when the Orlando Magic and the Milwaukee Bucks decided in the middle of the bubble, we're not going to play. We're not playing today. And the league had to postpone all playoff games. And that was obviously the first round. I mean, again, that's also never happened before. Yeah, the boycotting of the games, and that kind of trickled over to other leagues as well. So obviously that's a huge storyline. Okay, Kelcey went a little detailed again. My number 2 is, I don't even know if you know this, but do you remember the OG Anunoby buzzer beater shot when he had 0.5 seconds left? Okay, so in Toronto, they started reporting, when it was 0.5 seconds, they started reporting already that the Raptors had lost the game and gone down 3-0 against the Boston Celtics. So that's one of my favorite storylines because I find it hilarious that Toronto had already given up on the team, their news media, and then OG hits the shot. That prevented Toronto from probably getting swept in that series. Basically, once you're down 3-0, it's pretty much done, and that series went on to go 7 games. My next one would be the collapse of the Los Angeles Clippers. From up 3-1, and everybody thought, and I still think to this day they would have given the Lakers their best challenge, probably. I think without a doubt that's a 7-game series. But the collapse of the Clippers, it went from up 3-1 against the Denver Nuggets to a month later, done, and Doc Rivers no longer coaching the team, and he's coaching the Philadelphia 76ers now. Just the complete collapse of the Los Angeles Clippers. Yeah, that kind of hurts my heart to hear that. I have more positive ones. My last 2 are literally just watching Luka. That 43-17, whatever game that was, 13, was incredible. And then also watching the Phoenix Suns, somehow become the best team in the league. That was wild. Phoenix going undefeated and still not making the playoffs. Going undefeated in the bubble. Perfect 8-0, still not making the playoffs. Here's one that we haven't mentioned that I think without a doubt. Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler completely.
Jimmy G. Buckets.
Jimmy Butler took himself into a new he took himself to new heights, a new tier he took himself to in the NBA. I think without a doubt, Jimmy Butler, when ESPN does that NBA rank list every year, they rank all the 400, 500 players in the league. I think without a doubt, Jimmy Butler is going to be in the top 7, top 10 next year when they do that whenever the 2021 season starts, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Oh, okay, my very last one that I just thought of right now. We loved the Nuggets-Utah series, right?
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray, it was back and forth between those two.
The only reason that came up is because when you were if you didn't like Jimmy Butler before, you're going to like him now. I find that's going to be the same thing with Jamal Murray. If you didn't know him before, you know his name now after he scored, 50 points in, was it 3 games?
Oh, yeah. Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic were absolutely a big storyline from those playoffs this year, both of them. They put Denver on their back, and they were unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. That's been our opinions, the biggest storylines in the NBA since the hiatus in March. I'm Kelcey. That's John Roser. We will see you next week.